What do you want to get better at? Are there skills you need to learn?
If you're not asking for referrals, I would just encourage you to
finding the right mentor for you.
Right. Well, first and foremost, I want to welcome you all to live coaching, and whatever brought you here, I just want you to be intentional. So thinking about, why are you here? You know, if there was one thing you could leave with, is it an answer to a question, or maybe it's just a feeling? Maybe you're in a place where you're thinking, gosh, I need some upliftment to go forward in my business, or I'm lacking some confidence, I need a breakthrough, or perhaps you have a specific question on sales, on accounting, on business strategy. I'm here to answer those questions as well. And so starting to think about what that intention is. And by all means, I always try and get to everyone's question, and you can ask me anything for sure. I already have a question from Monica. I love that. Before I get into questions, I always want to come and share with you some wisdom. And I'm going to be talking about a topic that is not so glamorous, but I would like you all to take notes. So when you come to live coaching, you guys know I have the heart of a teacher. And so the topic we're going to be talking about just for the first couple of minutes has nothing to do with me selling anything. It's just really around me serving. And I want to talk about cybersecurity. I know some of you are like, oh, Susan, that's so boring, but it's been in the news a lot, and I want to just share with you a few tips. So the first thing to understand is cybersecurity is something that affects everyone. Over this weekend alone in the United States, there were over 150 cybersecurity attacks with ransomware. Recently, one of the most recent courses I took at MIT was in cybersecurity. If you're new to live coaching, I'm studying at MIT in addition to my day jobs. So I'm really passionate and weird and geeky, but my heart of service is really for all of you. And I don't do personal one-on-one coaching. I just love to show up once a month and help and serve you in any way that I can. So I want to share with you some statistics. So 43% of cyber attacks are on small businesses, and they are looking at your data. So they could be looking at if you have customer lists, if you have any kind of client database, prospect database. They can also hold your brand for ransom too. So Jessica's really smart. I'm just going to use her as an example. So I doubt, this would happen to her, but Jessica has a very solid brand as an autism consultant, and she has been written about in the New York Times as an example. So you could have a cyber attack attacking your brand and holding your brand for ransom, and they will get into your computer, and they could possibly infect all of your social media. They can affect your blogs that you put out there. 60% of businesses that get attacked by a cybersecurity attack go out of business in the first 6 months. And 63% of cyber attacks come from weak or stolen passwords. So make sure that your passwords are alphanumeric. Do not have the same password for any two things. I do not have the same password for any two things whatsoever. My passwords are very complicated. I don't have them memorized because they're so long. And you can use a tool like 1Password. How many of you use 1Pass? Or have heard of it? Okay, so 1Password is a great tool. It can help you encrypt your passwords and create very long, lengthy passwords. Of course, never text a password to anyone, never message it in a Slack conversation or anything like that. If you have employees and you're giving them password access, make sure they set up their own passwords for things. 94% of malware comes from email. And so we've seen an increase for small business owners in email malware. And we had one that came in today that looked like it was from Microsoft. It had the Microsoft logo. It had Microsoft in the email address, but it wasn't from Microsoft. And so they're just going to start phishing is what it's called. And there's two types of phishing. There's phishing and there's spear phishing. So what spear phishing is I get access to Jen's computer and I look at her email correspondence and I look at vendors that she's worked with and I send her an email invoice and she pays it because she thinks that it's from one of her actual clients, and that's spear phishing. And so the other statistic I'll give you is most malware resides on a computer for about 6 months before the hackers actually do anything with your info. So I thought I'd give you some cybersecurity statistics just because there's so much going on in the news. And, you know, always roll your passwords, clear your cache. That's not going to be enough. I really suggest you use a good malware program that is on your computer. And how many of you clear your cache at least once a week? Just put your hand up. How many of you clear it at least once a week? Please start doing that. I know it's a pain because when you clear the cache, all your passwords are cleared and you have to go re-enter them. But that's one of the best things that you can do is clearing your cache. And then the other thing I want you to start doing is don't keep your passwords on your phone. That is a horrible place to keep them. So keeping them in a tool like 1Pass, or the other thing you could do is physically write them down and lock them up in a safe. So that's another option for you. But anyway, I want to start with cybersecurity. Who just learned something? I don't mean to scare you all, but it is so prevalent right now, and it's only going to get worse. The future battlefields are not going to be fought with weapons. They're going to be fought with keyboards. So with that, I want to go ahead and answer the first question. I have some announcements. My daughter Avery's here. We're going to be talking about we like to keep the coaching super smart too. So we're going to be talking about the latest press release from Instagram and some changes that are coming there. We're going to answer a lot of questions. We're going to have a lot of fun. Are you guys ready? Hopefully you are. Okay. All right. So I had the first question. When should a small business hire employees and still remain profitable? So what I suggest you do is a gap analysis. So what kind of employee do you need? And I just wrote this, I'll make it available as a document on my website. I wrote a very comprehensive manual on how to hire virtual assistants. We use a company called onlinejobs.ph out of the Philippines, and the people are amazing. My longest employee from the Philippines has been with us, I think, 6 years. And so I have how to write your ad, how to screen people, vet people. So Monica, the thing I love about virtual employees is the following three things. Number one, you can hire to your specific needs. So I have a video person, I have a graphics person, I have an EA, May, who answers all my email and does all my correspondence. She also does all the closed captioning on the videos because her English is excellent. So you can hire onlinejobs.ph for a lot of those things that can be done virtually. If you are hiring in your local market and you're looking at you're in the point where you actually need employees, I suggest you really take a good look at your accounting. And I'm going to run you through some questions that I would ask you. One is, do you have, before you hire your first employees, do you have 6 months in the bank of your own salary? Because if you're running your business full time, you should definitely have that. Number two, does your business have any debt? Number three, do you really need a full-time employee? Or I'm familiar with labor laws in Canada where Monica is, or is this something that could be filled by a couple of part-time employees, which would actually save you money and also sort of safeguard you from paying out benefits until you're fully ready to hire? So that would be my answer. I'd sit down, I'd look at my cash flow statement, I do a needs analysis. If you can hire people virtually, do it. If you can hire contractors first. If you can take a full-time job and fill it in with some part-time people before you're ready to go part-time, those are all the things I recommend to stay profitable. So yes, okay. When do you consider a time to scale your business? Are there certain indicators, or when does the thought process begin? So that's a great question. So when you're looking to scale your business, the following things are happening. One, you're finding yourself working longer than 50 hours a week. Because your business is so busy that you're just doing more and more and more and more. And so, it's time to bring on some people. It's a good time to scale. Supply and demand. When you have more people who are interested in your services than you have the ability to fulfill on that. That's something that we're going through right now in one of my companies, where we literally have more companies that are interested in doing business with us than we have employees to fulfill on that. And so soon we're just doing a funding round. We're going to go into a massive hiring spree. And I've been working diligently on our employee handbook, which is a 50-page document that I created with one of our attorneys. And we're going to be hiring all these full-time employees, because we're at that point where the demand for what we do is so greater than what we can supply. So that's when. And so the indicator, usually what I suggest for business owners, is you are at that point, as I said, you're working the long hours, you have a lot of people interested in what you have to offer, and you just physically do not have the manpower to fulfill. I don't suggest you invest more in your business until those indicators happen, because here's a quiz. What's the number one reason businesses fail? Number one. It's cash flow. Cash flow. That's right. It's cash flow. And so they start spending money before they have it. So that's the number one reason businesses fail. I love those 2 opening questions. You guys are doing amazing. You can chat me some more questions. I want to do a couple of super quick announcements. Then I'm going to bring out Avery, and we're going to talk about the Instagram update. How many of you are aware that Instagram put the line in the sand? They came out with a statement and they're making some changes, right? And so how many of you knew about that? Just say yes in the chat if you knew. And how many of you are like, I just started mastering Instagram, right? Yes, Linda, I had a photography studio for 30 years. I easily worked over 60 hours, and I just did hire someone. Yes. So we're going to talk about those Instagram changes, because they do affect all of you using Instagram, but I'm just going to do a couple of super quick announcements here. Yes, okay, here we go. So a couple quick things. One, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, we're doing such a pivot. It's really about raw and real entrepreneurship. I'm interviewing not just, founders, but people who are in the trenches building businesses. Actually, one of our top watched video was with my friend Blake, who was going to school full time. During that time, he was also working full time as a nurse. His marriage fell apart. His wife left him, and he ended up being a single dad and going to school full time and working full time, working shifts. And throughout the process, he never stopped believing in his business. And today he owns a very, very successful business. That was the #1 watch. So make sure you are subscribed to that. If your business is currently doing over 6 figures, you're in the trenches of building your business, I would be very interested in you applying. I've interviewed some of the top entrepreneurs in the world, people like Jesse Itzler, whose wife is Sarah Blakely, who founded Spanx, Mark Victor Hansen, co-author of Chicken Soup for the Soul, best-selling authors, and so many amazing people. Rick Jordan, I interviewed him. He's a global cybersecurity expert. He's also doing an IPO for a company, and that initial valuation on his company is probably going to be, I don't know, I don't want to give you investment advice, but I'll be investing in it. It's going to be on the New York Stock Exchange. But I love really interviewing entrepreneurs who are in the trenches. So again, if your business is doing over 6 figures, you can apply to be a guest. Good, Susan Sly. I want to talk about this. You know, when we're in the trenches building a business, it can be really tough at times to come up with fresh ideas, to be, you know, feeling like we know what the best course of action is. And, you know, it's always good to get together and celebrate, but also to have that strategy. And I'm doing my 7-figure women's retreat in Sedona. There are only a few spots left, and you can get $500 off with this ticket. You know, I know other people who charge $10,000 for 3-day events. This event is listed at $2,997, $500 off with this coupon. We have a payment plan. And my good friend, my sister from another mister, is going to be co-training at the event. Now, why would you want to learn from Rebecca? Very interestingly, Rebecca had the #1 law practice in South Florida. She decided, I want to do this. She put herself through law school as a single mom of 3 kids, just incredible. And Rebecca decided a few years ago she was burned out. She and her husband moved across the country to California. She sat there, what am I going to do? She hears Russell Brunson on a podcast, and this was late 2018. She starts reading his book. She's, you know, doing all this stuff. And you guys, guess what? 2019, she made $1 million. And now, January this year, she was up to almost multiple 6 figures for 1 month. She's going to walk you through how she does it. And that doesn't include what she's making off her YouTube channel. She has, I think, 160,000 subscribers, and she's my age. And it's just proof positive. You know, it doesn't matter what age you're at. And I'm sorry, guys, it's just for women, this particular event, but get your ticket. It's going to be incredible. And what we're including is Thursday night, there's going to be a welcome reception. Cocktails are optional, but they're included. We're going to do 2 hours of a deep dive. You know, what do you need? What do you need to focus on? Then Friday morning, we're going to go hiking. We'll have a light breakfast. We're going to do some training, lunch, dinner. Saturday morning, there's going to be yoga. Then we'll have light breakfast, lunch, and a dinner, and a whole, like, you know, reception afterwards. It's going to be incredible. We will shuttle you to Sedona if you don't have a drive, and in-depth training on strategy, business, branding, and mindset. So definitely get a ticket, ladies, if you don't have one yet. And if your country is shut down because of COVID for travel, we'll refund your ticket. But once it's sold out, it is sold out. So with that, Avery, do you want to come out? And we're going to talk about Instagram.
Yes, hello. Oh, I'm going to turn on my video. There we go.
So Avery is the director of social media marketing at the agency. She, for those of you who don't know her, she has a degree in marketing, of course, from the W.P. Carey School of Business at ASU. And she works with luxury automotive clients. She has coaching clients. She's in the process of a discussion with a major charity that rescues kids from trafficking and doing all of their social media. So she's kind of a big deal. I'm always in awe of her. And so we were talking around the dinner table this week about the changes that Instagram is proposing. And I said to Avery, why don't you come to live coaching? How many of you are using Instagram in some capacity? How many of you are using Instagram? Just say me in the chat. Yes. So live coaching isn't just about answering questions. It's making sure you get up to the minute information. So Avery, take it away. What is Instagram proposing?
Yes, and some of you I know. So if at this point you aren't using Instagram, we're going to have a chat later. But I know you guys are, so it's okay. So this is just speculation so far from what I've seen on TikTok and other places. But there are rumors that Instagram is going to be making a shift where they are no longer going to be prioritizing photo content, meaning that they are going to be pushing video content in their algorithm much more than they currently are. Additionally, sorry, if you can hear me breathing, it's because I'm asthmatic and I didn't take my inhaler before this, and it's not near me, so I'm really sorry if you can hear that. But yeah, they're not going to be prioritizing photos anymore. And additionally, they're going to be emphasizing creators and the marketplace feature. So basically, I'm going to just have my moment of riff, and they basically want to get rid of the little guys and focus on the big guys is what I'm kind of sensing from this. Now, Obviously, there's a couple things that happen when social media platforms decide to shift like this. One is that this is all just speculation at this point in time. It doesn't necessarily mean that that is going to be the case. Instagram really is a photo-based platform, so to me, it doesn't make a massive amount of sense. Additionally, they haven't done something like this with their main platform, which is Facebook. They've not really changed what Facebook is. Yes, they've added new features. Yes, they've changed some things, but they've not done anything this massive to Facebook, which is an indicator to me that this could just be a rumor. However, to adapt, there's one of two things. Either A, people are going to move to new platforms, or B, people are going to just shift to predominantly putting out video content. Now, I think what happened here is that Instagram's a little bit jealous of TikTok, and so they just want to be TikTok. So how can we do this? How can we shift? How can we pivot? It's getting in the habit of getting video content. I have a recurring weekly meeting with some fantastic people. And in this meeting, we've been talking a lot about video editing. So I'm going to rapid fire some quick tips for you guys. So, sorry, I'm breathing. So, okay, so here are some quick video tips for you guys. One, shoot content vertically. If you are posting on Instagram, shoot vertically. That means your phone is like this. This is horizontal. This is vertical. We want the up, down. If you're posting on Facebook or YouTube, this way is fine. Instagram, this way. Don't bother horizontal. Don't put it out there. Horizontal video content is not favored in Instagram. Additionally, we want to be posting, this is the second tip, post on Instagram Reels. I want to give a special shout out to Bruce because Bruce posted his first Instagram reel. He's been posting some content on Reels. He has one reel that got over 1,000 views, and it got over 1,000 views very quickly. So, and another shout out also to Barbara Kane, who did the same thing happened to her. She also posted a reel that got over 1,000 views, excuse me. If you're posting on Reels, Instagram will share this content and put it in front of more people, so it gives you more of an opportunity to get discovered. Now, speaking of Reels, if you're like, I don't know what to post on Reels for my business, I'm not going to give you guys, I can give you guys some more tips as we go, I guess, and if there are any questions, but I don't want to take up too much time. But basically, behind the scenes content is fantastic. Use it as an opportunity to show more personality behind your brand. Use it as an opportunity to showcase funny things that happen to you, your pets being silly, your kids being silly. It doesn't have to be necessarily in brand alignment. That being said, you know, if you want to do it for business, it should be in brand alignment. But if it's your personal Instagram page, or if you're a personal brand and your brand is yourself, then you can post some, you have a little bit more flexibility. If you're a business owner, post some stuff that other people may not see as often. So some examples I've used are, if you are an auto body shop and you're taking a wrap off a car, film a reel of the wrap being pulled off the car. That's not something that people see every day. And every single industry has things that people don't see every day that you might take for granted. Paint mixing, tempering chocolate, behind the scenes of wine tours. There's a lot of different content that you can create. Additionally, if you are a working professional, if you don't necessarily have some behind the scenes content that you can create, do educational videos. If you're a lawyer, 5 tips for getting out of a speeding ticket. I know a guy on TikTok, I don't know him personally, but I found his videos before, and his whole brand is teaching people what to say in certain situations because he's a lawyer. So he goes, if you get pulled over, say this, this, and this, or if a police requests a search from you, say this, this, and this. He has, and his videos go viral because of it, because he's giving tips that people can get value from. So just because Instagram may be shifting away from photo content doesn't mean that it's not going to be a good platform. And it doesn't mean that you can't still use it or get recognized for your brand and your business. It just means that we need to pivot and start emphasizing this video content. But at this point in the game, we should already know, because honestly, video content is the most important and people love that visual aspect of it. So yeah.
Thank you, Avery, who just learned something. And I posted a link to one of the articles that has come out. And this is a, a press release coming out from Instagram and quotes from Instagram. As Avery said, they've looked at the success of TikTok and they want to go up against TikTok. And it doesn't matter. One of the things we teach at the agency, we specialize in working with solopreneurs, is it doesn't matter what your age is, it doesn't matter what your business is, there is a story for you to tell on social media, and you can hire Avery to do one-on-one coaching with you to help you. Avery will also be at the 7-Figure Women's Retreat. I know some of you are already registered, and we're going to help you narrow your brand, get your topic wheel down so you're focusing on posting things that do make sense. So great tips, Avery. Thank you so much. All right, let's go to the next question. Who has a burning question?
I'll address what Jess said, because she said that her dog on TikTok lost 7,000 likes. And she said it doesn't really matter because his dog, it's a vanity account. Also, Lucky is very cute. For those of you that don't know him, he's very handsome. But that honestly is probably attributable to bots, to be honest, or accounts that are, I mean, it's strange that you didn't lose any followers, because I don't understand. I don't think people would have gone through and done a mass unliking. I genuinely think it's probably just because of bots or something happened, or TikTok has been having some glitches today. I went to a friend's profile. They asked me to follow them back. So I went to check out their profile and it said they had 0 followers and 0 likes and 0 videos. But I was looking at their videos as I was there, so I knew that it wasn't correct. So I think TikTok has been experiencing some weird stuff today. So it might come back tomorrow, or it was just probably bots.
Awesome. Thanks, Avery. And so one of the biggest things that we have to take a look at in your business is what social media makes sense. And it's interesting because we have been saying at the agency for the last 18 months, video content, video content, video content. That was the bottom line. And we had also said last year that it would be prudent for many of you to make a move to TikTok. And so we're seeing that already came to fruition. The thing I do want to put the line in the sand, which is very interesting, is audio. So Clubhouse had a big peak. And then Facebook looked at Clubhouse, TikTok looked at, Twitter looked at Clubhouse, and they were like, oh, audio content. One of the reasons audio content is so powerful is because people are tired of being in front of screens. How many of you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? The Zoom meetings, everything, right? So audio is huge. And if you aren't using some form of audio to build your business, you might want to consider it. And so for me, it's a podcast. We're at almost 500,000 downloads right now of my show. So thinking about, does a podcast make sense for you? Or maybe it's some kind of continuous audio. The big thing I will say to all of you is, write this word down. It's consistency. It's consistency. Anyone I know, myself included, who makes over $1 million a year has been super consistent. Consistency has to be your superpower, right? And there are always reasons why we use social media as a strategy. And likewise, there are reasons when we might pull back from social media. I'm going to tell you guys, one of my attorneys, I have more attorneys than I have purses. One of my attorneys, Tony, told me that there was a company that he was working with going through an acquisition, and it was probably around $120 million for the acquisition. Not too bad a payday. Would you all agree? That's not too shabby. And on the last day, it didn't go through. You know why? Because one of the corporate officers posted something on Instagram and the acquisition company didn't like it. And so they decided to pull the plug. Yeah. So, just always be, very aware that people are indeed watching you. There's no question.
I want to jump out quickly on that. No, I know we have some questions, so I'm not going to take too much time. But firstly, I have more attorneys than I have purses. We need to make that a quote card. But I would like to also thank you to everyone sending the messages about asthma in the chat. But I just wanted to say, When it comes to consistency on social media, you don't have to stress about it because it's a lot easier than you think. And this is something I recommend to all my clients, and I want to recommend it to you guys as well. Using Instagram stories and Facebook stories is a fantastic way to keep your audience engaged without having to go through the effort of writing out a long, thoughtful post or taking a nice picture to put out and deploy on your feed. So there's a couple ways to use stories, and just really quick, get in the habit of posting on your stories daily. For myself, if you follow me on Instagram and you watch my stories, you know that I just constantly am posting memes. Does that have anything to do with cars or marketing? Not necessarily, although I do post car memes and marketing memes. But it's a way to keep my audience engaged and they're entertained by it. So I get a lot of responses. I will ask polls also, and polls are a fantastic way. If you post a couple polls, you will be shocked by how much your engagement increases. One of my clients, normally our story views are around 300 views. But if I post several polls on our story, we jump up to 1,500 to 1,700 views. So just posting a couple polls, like for example, and it doesn't even have to necessarily like be related. You could be, you could ask, which flavor do you prefer? Which car do you prefer? Which design do you like better on this chocolate? Which vineyard looks prettier? Some different options like that. Or you could say, if you are, a personal brand or something, you can ask some personal questions of your audience. Where would you rather vacation? And then you can do mountains or beach. And you can just ask some random questions like that. You don't have to get crazy with it. I use an app called InShot to create collages. I just texted it in the group. It's also a video editing app. I use it. It's free. And if you want to pay for it, you can, but it is free to use. I have not paid for it and I've been using it for 2 years now. So there is a paid option, but you don't need those features that are behind that paywall. So don't worry about it. You can just exit out of it, but InShot's fantastic. Just go make a collage. Or there's actually a layout feature on Instagram stories now where you can upload two photos. You can insert a poll. It's in the stickers tab. And you can ask people questions. Asking questions of your audience gets them more engaged with you, and an engaged audience is more likely to convert into an audience that is likely to make a purchase from you, which is something we all want as business owners and people that are working. And that's lovely to have our social media convert. So that's an easy way to do it, to get in and out. If you have some spare time, just make some collages, find some photos online on Pinterest, make some collages when you're bored, when you're watching a movie, when you're waiting at the doctor's office, and then just upload them as you go or upload them over time. And when it comes to consistency, guys, 2 things, and then I'll move on. One is that if you create a bunch of stories, don't post them all at once and then don't post anything for the rest of the day, or don't post everything you have on Monday and then nothing on Tuesday. You want to be consistent. So if you're posting around 3 stories a day, that's totally fine. Stories are something you can get in and out. You can post your surroundings. You can take a picture of your sparkling water. You can take a picture of your dog. It doesn't have to be very formal because it's only on there for 24 hours. Or, so that's one thing. You don't want to just post all at one time. Secondly, is if you spread out your posts throughout the day, it's going to get your audience coming back more. Whereas if you post everything at once, they watch your story once and then they forget about you later in the day. But if you're staggering these posts, you're posting in the morning, in the afternoon, and at night, then you are getting more people engaging with your content throughout the day. More people start to watch it. And then Instagram, the more engagement you get, the more they prioritize your content in the feed. The more your content is prioritized, the more people see it, and the more people, again, are likely to buy from you in the future. So those are my fast tips. And I'm here if you guys have any questions as well. But yeah.
Thanks, Avery. We have 3 questions that have been privately chatted to me, so I do want to get going with those. And just so everyone knows, Avery always gives a ton of information. She does run a mastermind to help you grow your business. We do open enrollment only twice a year. So we will have open enrollment. It's $47 a month, and that's weekly. And everyone's getting amazing results. We'll have open enrollment again in the fall. And then at our annual virtual marketing conference called the UME Online Ultimate Marketing Experience, we have this year's keynote is none other than the undercover billionaire and one of my dear friends and mentors, Glenn Stern, is keynoting this year, and tickets are $77, I believe. So that happens next, I believe it's February, but those are the only times that we open this up. So look for open enrollment. That'll happen again in the fall. All right, I want to run through these questions. So one of the questions I got is business books, right? So what business book should I be reading? Now, there was a study done on millionaires, and the average self-made millionaire who makes over $10 million a year reads 2 business books a month. 2 per month. Okay, so one of the biggest pieces that I would say to all of you in terms of this is readers are leaders. And are you spending more time reading social media posts, or are you spending more time reading the business books? Because you want to be spending about 80% of your time reading the things that are going to help you get to that next level. So there are a whole host of different books that I love. But one of my favorite books is an old school book called The Power of Focus by Jack Canfield, Mark Victor Hansen, and Les Hewitt. Les Hewitt is a Canadian, by the way. And that book is incredible just in terms of focus. So that would be my suggestion on that one if you haven't read it. Another question that came up was, how do I stay focused when I get overwhelmed? So I want to give 3 tips. Number 1, you've got to have a mentor. Mentorship is incredibly important if you are going to be successful. So I have never built a company to the point of being acquired for north of 9 figures, but that's what I'm doing right now. So one of my mentors is Jason Pfeffer. Jason Pfeffer was the co-founder of MySpace back in the day. How many of you had a MySpace account? I did. So my friend Jason was a co-founder of that. They sold it for $300 million and they started this bidding war. So Jason's one of my mentors. I have another mentor who's, my objective is to write a New York Times #1 best-selling business book. It's not the time right now. It's going to be the time in the future. So one of my mentors is Harvey McKay. He's written 7 New York Times bestsellers in the business segment. So how do we get mentors? Really amazing mentors are not life coaches because they made so much money, they just wouldn't do one-on-one coaching. I don't do one-on-one coaching anymore. So you get mentors by association. You get mentors by showing up for things like this, because a really great mentor isn't going to charge you for their mentorship. That's different than a coach. A coach is going to kick your rumpus. But a mentor is going to be that person who shows up and says, hey, you've got a question. This is what I think you should do. So I'll buy Mark Victor Hansen's another mentor of mine. So Mark, I took Mark and his wife Crystal out for a really beautiful dinner at the best restaurant in Scottsdale called The Elements at the Sanctuary. And after that, Mark just started sending me like all of these referrals from my podcast. He emails me almost every single day. So a mentor is someone who is not going to be that person who gets on the phone with you for once a week for an hour, but they're going to be that person who gives you the advice. You've got access to them, and having mentors in very specific areas. Thank you. I just got that message about reading one of my books. The second way to really get yourself out of a rut is an event. And yes, I'm running an event, but I will tell you, it is the best way to get yourself out of a rut. And virtual events are fabulous, but not as good as in-person events. You and me, we used to do in-person, and then COVID hit and we started to do it online. We'll do it online again this year. We might go back to in-person, but getting yourself in an event where you're surrounded by all of these people who are big thinkers, who are big doers, it's just amazing. And the third thing that gets yourself out of a rut is what I call the production notebook. And I was just working with Avery on this whole concept of a production notebook. The most powerful personal development exercise you can ever do that will cost you nothing is to record everything you eat, your exercise, and how much you sleep in one notebook, and in another notebook, record all of your income producing activities. And very quickly, you're going to find out why your bank account or your scale looks like it does. So I've been keeping production notebooks for 18 years. 18 years. And every single day, I write down in all of my 3 companies, all of my income producing activities, and I do a minimum of 3. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I do 5 in each company, but Thursday and Friday, I'm kind of like winding down a little bit, but that's what I do. And that will help you. It will change the game. It really will. So I look at today as an example, and I'm going, okay, well, you know, in one company, I've done 5 things. In another company, I've done 5 things. In another company, I've only done 1 thing. So what do you think I need to do once I've finished live coaching? 4 more things. That's right. And that's how you end up making millions and millions of dollars. And looking at kitten videos on TikTok is not an income producing activity unless you are Purina. Right? How much you sleep, Shirley? How much you sleep? Yes. So you could have 2 notebooks, right? One for your health and one for your finances. And so a production notebook is key. Who can tell me, where are my Organize Your Life students? Why else do you keep a production notebook? I know Jess knows this. Bruce knows this. Why do you keep a production notebook? Marcia knows. Jen knows. Taxes. That's right. And I have a really great track record. I haven't lost one yet. I've not had one student who didn't successfully pass their audit. And in fact, almost every one of my students got money back when they were supposed to owe money. And one of my students got audited, or many, and they handed in these production notebooks, and the auditor was like, what the heck is this? It's like, here's the record of everything I've done. So keeping a production notebook. Jessica just got a refund. So let's say, as an example, I'll use Jen. So let's say Jen's in network marketing and she has 1 business. So what is in her production notebook? She's going to maybe have 3 key goals. One goal is going to be, let's say, recruiting new customers, right? So she might have recruiting new customers, and she might put the numbers 1 through 5 under recruiting new customers. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, she's going to take 5 actions toward that. And they could be prospecting, they could be following up, doing presentations. Those are the key things. Let's say Jen has an event coming up for her company, and she has a goal. Let's say she's got a newer business that she wants to have 15 people watching that event. So her second column in her book might be promote live event. And then so she's going to take 5 actions a day, messaging 5 people. Let's say one's her sister. She doesn't care who it is. She just wants 30 eyeballs, unless one person only has 1 eye. She wants 30 eyeballs on that event. And I'll tell you guys a quick story. So many of you know in network marketing that I've made millions and millions and millions of dollars, tens of millions actually. But my first live event for my company, I had a goal to get 12 people there. And it was a month before the event. I was in Canada. The event was in Las Vegas. And I was at 9 people, including me. But I every single day in my production notebook. So we were doing this live event. It was a Thursday night. And our guest speaker started talking about this live event that was coming up in Las Vegas. And the year was 2004. And I got up there, I said, I'm going. And, you know, I pointed at the people in the audience going. These 3 sisters enrolled in the company that night and said, we're going to Las Vegas. And there was my 12. And of my 12 people, one was my uncle, one was my aunt. I didn't care who these people were. I just knew. But here's the fun thing. Of the people, the original people who came to that event, 5 of them ended up making more than $1 million in that company. And that's what intentionality is. That's the production notebook. So what's in Jen's third column? It could be team rank advancing. So she says, my third column, okay, I want my team to rank advance. So when I'm doing, say, 3-way calls or whatever, Zooms with people in my team, then that goes in that category. And imagine Jen was that intentional. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, she did that. Thursday, Friday, she kind of eased up a bit. How fast would it be for her to really rock her business if that's how intentional she was, right? Because in a network marketing business, aren't you building from event to event to event? So that column would always stay there, right? Yes, exactly. And so I just use a spiral notebook. I'm half Chinese, so I got a Chinese money coin on there. You can order those on Amazon if you want. And that's how I do it every single day. You are so welcome. You're so welcome. Jess has a coin on hers too. Avery, I know, wants to jump out and say something. I want to answer one more question that came in. So with regard to office space, it's so funny this question should come up. So many people wanted to work from home before COVID. Now, a lot of people don't want to work from home, right? So there are 3 different things you can do with offices. So number 1, you can do like a WeWork, and you can get a membership and just use it part of the time. Number 2, you can go into a traditional office, which I don't recommend right now because of COVID. So many offices, they're willing to do less than 3- and 4-year leases. But you might want to do that if your company's growing. The third thing you can do is find, and Jess, there is a space on Tatum that you can get access. You can rent a small office there. I think it's like $800 a month, but then you have access to their boardroom and their meeting rooms. And so it's not quite like a co-working space. You have your actual own office where you can put your stuff in there. But when you have client meetings, you can go and use those boardrooms and just book them. And so office prices have really come down. You guys know I do not recommend going into debt for any business. I think you should definitely be, unless you're doing like a tech startup or something, you should definitely be bootstrapping your businesses, right? But you know, sometimes you just need to go into an office because you need your sanity or whatever the case is, right? You won't need a line of credit to secure it, Jessica, because I can tell you right now, so many places are just willing to be flexible because the vacancy rates are at an all-time high. Awesome. All right, Avery, what did you want to jump out and say?
So as all of you guys know, I'm my mother's daughter, and my mother is her father's daughter. So I have a fantastic thing to share with you, all of you guys, but also a little bit of a kick in the butt. So today I found out that I'm going to be able to go up to Canada for Christmas. And the first thing I did was call my grandpa, and I was like, hey, I'm going to be up there for Christmas. I want to spend some time with you. And so we spoke on the phone for 20 minutes. And for those of you that may be following basketball, maybe not, here in Arizona, we're very excited because the Phoenix Suns, look, the Phoenix Sun is even appearing, are in the finals and they're playing the Bucks. So I was talking to my grandpa on the phone. I was like, hey, you know, there's this guy on the Bucks named Giannis Antetokounmpo, who, you know, they, when he first got drafted, they talked about how his body was the perfect body for basketball. And I knew my grandpa would love this random stuff. We're very like nerdy. We like to learn random facts, runs in the family. And so I sent him this article. Some of you guys, am I able to share my screen? I am. Some of you guys aren't even shooting vertical video. Some of you are intimidated by Instagram Reels. You're intimidated by Instagram. This is my 80-year-old grandpa who photoshopped his face onto Giannis Antetokounmpo's body. And if he can do this, you guys, then you guys can do Instagram Reels, okay? And he goes, a recent picture of Avery's gungung, which is Cantonese for grandfather. And if you can do this, guys, you can do Instagram Reels. My mom didn't even see this picture, but I just wanted to share this with all of you because I don't know if you guys, he said this a couple minutes ago and I've been cracking up, trying not to tear up because it's so funny. And I didn't know if you guys could see me lose my cool, but this is to light a fire under you. Get your production notebook, start shooting video content, start reading those books, guys, because if he can Photoshop his face onto the professional basketball player's body, then you guys can do anything you set your minds to.
Thank you, Avery. I love that. And I want everyone to write it down and just have this spirit of curiosity, right? You know, you're not going to get it right every single time. Your social media, your blogs, your email, your all those different things, you're not going to get it right, but you're never going to get it right if you don't try. Right? So I love it. Yes, my father, that's pretty stellar. My dad is also the master of the green screen as well. Who else has a question? I would love to serve you. If you didn't get your question answered, I would love to. Or if you want to jump in the chat or message privately, what is something maybe you're learning so far in live coaching? We would love, I would love if you, Avery and I would love on Instagram, if you want to give a shout out for live coaching, if you want to take a photo, I don't care. Yes, Cassie, I have missed you. I would love for you to ask a question.
Hi, I'm really happy to be here. I've been a little MIA. But it kind of relates to the question. So I have been working basically full time, and I work with people who have developmental disabilities like Down syndrome, autism, etc. And where I am right now, not only the people that I serve in that community can be very emotionally, mentally draining, but also the management is also making a lot of changes, a lot of things that are not the best for every person. And I mean, like everything trickles down. So my question is, how can I reserve my energy in what I'm doing to make sure I have time for my business? Because like the past couple of days, we just actually got back into the building from online stuff. So it's a bit of an adjustment, but I'm having a very hard time just rejuvenating or regenerating, whatever you want to say, after work. And I was like, I want to go to bed, but I'm like, no, I committed to being on Susan's call tonight. So that is my question. How can I revive?
Cassie, that's an amazing question. 87% of businesses are started part-time. Okay, 87%. So when we think about that, the 87% of people, just like you and I was one myself, were working full-time and had the side hustle. And some people were working full-time, the side hustle, maybe dealing with aging parents, kids, pets, like all this other stuff that's going on. So that is such a beautiful question, Cassie, and I want to honor you for asking the question. So I'm going to give you the 3 things that I suggest in this roadmap. So step number 1, if you're in a toxic work environment, start looking for a different job. There are a lot of great work environments out there, and you're young and you're smart and you're so coachable that you deserve to be in a place where you're celebrated, you're uplifted. A lot of workplaces too are giving a lot more flexibility now, because so many people, over 51% of Americans over the age of 27 have a side hustle now. And in our employee handbook that we just wrote, we wrote in that it's okay to have a side hustle just because we want to have that flexibility. Okay, so that's number 1, look for a different place. Number 2 is be very deliberate with your time. So schedule your work time like you would schedule your workout time. And in that time, and this is advice for all of you, we all have times of day when we feel our best. Avery we were discussing this as a family. We sit down for dinner together almost every single night, all of us. And Avery her hypothesis is that if you were born at night, you're a night person. If you're born in the morning, you're a morning person. I don't know what the science is on that, but the reality is that we all have that period of the day when we feel amazing. For me, it's early in the morning. For some people, it's later at night. For some people, it's mid-afternoon, mid-morning, whatever. And so as much as you can, all of you want to do the things that are going to bring you the most money during that period of time of the day when you're the most energized, because people are attracted to your energy. Linda, they're going to be attracted to your energy, and Jen, and Tia, and Pam, and Bruce, Amy, Anita, that when you're energized, it's that gravitas. So I like to do anything that I might find challenging during that time. Now, if that's the time when you're at work, then what you might want to do, Cassie, is that's a time then if you are able to take a 15-minute break, that you walk outside. That's when you might message some people to set up your appointments for when you get home from work. Because when we have an appointment, Cassie, you're a very disciplined person. I know you said it, like I knew I was registered for coaching. It's almost 10 at night where Cassie lives right now, but she was going to be here. And so if you have those appointments to go to, then you know you're going to make them up. And the third thing that I want to say is, you hear this all the time, is focus on your why. Your why is going to make you do the things you don't want to do in the times you don't want to do them. And I'm going to say that again. Your why is going to make you do the things you don't want to do in the times that you don't want to do them. And so thinking about that, when I'm looking at people, I have a pretty good meter now where I can look at someone and say that person's going to be successful or they're not going to be successful. And it comes to this acronym I created called CCDT. And the CCDT stands for coachable, capable, desire, and time. And over the years, in my network marketing business, I've helped develop 50 millionaires now, almost 50 millionaires. And over the course of time in working with people and mentoring people, the CCDT is what is most proficient. So like I know Pam Dunwald as an example. If I say to Pam, go do this, she's very coachable. Capable, when we have something that maybe we don't know how to do, but we're willing to find out how to do it with no excuses, that ups our capability. And then desire, what is that person's burning desire? What is it that, makes them feel like they have their back against the wall and they're going to do it no matter what? And are they willing to make the time? Even when they're on borrowed time. Right? So those are the four things: coachable, capable, desire, and time. And when someone has those four things, that's when, I just know that they're going to make it. And the last thing I'll say is, look at your life in phases. All of you. Look at your life in phases. There's a phase of your life when maybe you're juggling a lot of balls and you're exhausted and you're like, oh my gosh, this is really, really hard. Don't focus on what you're going through. Focus on what you're going to. Right? What is life going to be like on the other side of that? And can you accelerate time? Can Linda have more conversations so that she compresses that phase so it doesn't last 18 months? Maybe it lasts 18 weeks. I interviewed a woman on my podcast show and she said to me something it was really profound. She said, Susan, this year my business is on fire. I am making more money than I've ever made. Everything is amazing. And I said, what did you do? And she said, I took everything that I wanted to do in 1 year and I did it in the first 6 weeks of the year. Everything. So she didn't waste any time. She put her blinders on and she was like, everything I need to do, I'm doing it right now. Like, how powerful is that, right? So yes. So as we approach the top of the hour, what's coming up for all of you? In my fantasy life, I would just have a call-in show and do this all day long because I love it. I did live radio many years ago, 30 years ago. I'm dating myself. Marcia's starting a production only notebook. I love that. Yes. Cassie's moving to Arizona. I love it. Although Ontario's as hot as Arizona today. Production notebook. Someone just private messaged me that. Reading 2 books a month. Yeah, if you want to make millions of dollars a year, do what multimillionaires do. Production notebook. Awesome. Awesome. And lighting a fire under myself, says Anne. That's beautiful. Yes. Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for being here. And Pam's going to do more reels. So just finally, if you want to come to Sedona, imagine this feeling that you're getting in an hour. Imagine it 2.5 days hanging out with me. It's going to be transformational. I don't know how many spots are left. We were getting to the point of selling it out. So I expanded the room by 8 more people, I think I moved it to the biggest room I could. The resort is so beautiful. It's in a vortex. And Chris and I just stayed there, and it was like, literally angels were singing. It was so amazing. And you can just walk up the street. You're in downtown Sedona, but it's gorgeous there. So yes, if you aren't registered for Sedona, as I said, we did a payment plan just because I want to make it flexible. We're going to feed you, but it's all healthy food. So that's the other thing. And the second thing is, if you want a coach for social media, just go to agency8.com, get a session with Avery. She will help you. She will guide you. And I just saw the private message. Yes, send me an email. I would love to hear about that. Yes, absolutely. And guys, I'm going to do my next session of live coaching will be in August, but by all stretch of the imagination, just so you know, if you have a question you want me to answer, go to susansly.com, go on the contact form, because I answer your questions. Sometimes I'll email you. Sometimes I might make you a YouTube video just for you, post on the channel. I won't say your name, but I love answering your questions, because nothing will make my heart happier than whatever business you're in is seeing you succeed. So with that, happy July, everyone. Have an amazing, amazing, amazing rest of your month. I will see you in August again. If you have a question, just go to susansly.com and fill out a contact form. All right, thanks everyone. And change your passwords. Bye.